The reason I wanted to get involved in politics is because I like problem solving. So I like a situation where someone comes to me and says, here's a situation that we need to have some better action on, and so I get to analyse the problem and basically try and come up with a solution, talk to other people, understand their viewpoint, and work constructively to come up with those solutions. So that's why I like politics, and it also comes out a little bit from those other things that I'd done. So in the Navy, at sea, you're always solving problems, different kind of problems, obviously. Although you are working with maps and charts quite a lot, and a lot of the issues that I'm working on in my local area of Helensville actually are quite sort of based on the geography of the area, whether it's transport or housing or whatever. So National talks about personal responsibility. That's something that's very core to our values, and that's something that I believe in very strongly, that we need to have a society where everyone looks after themselves and their families as best they can in their communities. However, if people aren't able to do that, then of course the government will help. But the starting point is that people look after themselves if they can. And to me, that seems a healthy thing for our society. That's what the National Party believes, and that's what I believe, so that's why I'm in the National Party. Yeah, I was excited because I had an opportunity to follow in the footsteps of Sir John Key, who is really a legend in New Zealand political history, quite unparalleled in terms of his popularity across the country, but also in Helensville itself. So he was really popular locally. So I was excited in that sense. Anxious, I suppose, was the other part of your question or your comment, and that was probably for the same reason, really, just that he had such a big reputation and that I was coming in at a level where obviously I wanted to do my best, but to know that I would have those big shoes to fill. Now, my style obviously is different from John, so I sort of always have to be careful to make it clear to people that I'm going to do the best job that I can do in my way, as opposed to being some sort of imitation of John and falling short in that way. So mixed emotions when I got that opportunity. The key focus in terms of the problems that people come to my office and present are mostly about the fact that the area is growing a lot. So there are a lot of new housing developments in Whanuapai, Kumeu, Huapai. These areas are the northwest of Auckland in particular. And so these areas have got lots of extra housing, which is great, lots of new population, which is great, but the challenge is to do with that growth in terms of roads, public transport, schools and so on. So it's just sort of keeping up with that. So that's the main thing that I want to do for the area, is help get that infrastructure and those systems in place so that we can cope with the fact that we've got more people living out there now. I think they've got their priorities wrong. I think it's a good thing that they want to invest money in public transport, but I think they're doing it the wrong way. They're focusing on a couple of really big, expensive projects that are going to take a very long time, whereas if they take an approach that we already have some infrastructure in place, we've got roads, we've got buses are flexible, why not put on more services for the people in a way that's available right now? Because if you're building like rail, for example, in Dominion Road, but also in my electorate out in the northwest, gee, that's going to take a long time. It takes so long to build anything in this country because of the Resource Management Act, and they're going to find that another 10 or 15 years worth of traffic is going to build up while that stuff is happening. So even if it's a good idea in itself, then it's just the fact that it's going to be too slow to be of practical benefit. Often it's about immigration policy, in particular in relation to employment. So people come to my office and they say they're running businesses. Often they're immigrants themselves, or they have immigrants wanting to come in and work in their areas. And immigration policy is very difficult to understand at the moment because we have these mixed messages that the government has been sending, partly because they've said one thing on their campaign and they're saying another thing now they're in government, and maybe they've realised that actually that extra 30,000, whatever the number is, these are people who are contributing to our country, who are paying their taxes, who are doing jobs that New Zealanders, for whatever reason, can't do or won't do. But actually within the government as well, because you've got the three parties, you've got Labour, New Zealand First and the Green, they've got different positions as well. So what's the policy? Who wins in that? So you've got New Zealand First, who want to have lower immigration, and then you've got the Greens, who sort of backed off their position that they had when they were following Labour, that said they wanted less, but then they want more refugees, so it's all over the place. I want to say friendly, relaxed, positive. And I think I'm friendly because I like talking with people. I really enjoy that. I said relaxed because I think that it's the best way to get results is to be able to engage with people in a way that reflects the fact that you're comfortable with them. And positive because I think we're such a great country, we've got so much potential, and I think if we can just work together on the solutions and talk a lot along the way, that we'll do even better in this country going forward. So I'm really positive for that reason. I think actually probably the thing that I was most proud of at the time was when I was in the Navy. I was in the Australian Navy and I joined the submarine squadron, and I spent some time at sea on a submarine and managed to get a qualification as a submarine officer, which meant that I had to learn a lot of things about how the physical boat worked, engineering systems, which wasn't a strength of mine, so I had to work quite hard on that. My own job, which was navigating, the safety systems of the boat, lots of knowledge in a lot of different areas. So for me, that was quite hard work, and therefore I felt it was a bit of an achievement. So that was something I was proud of at the time. For me, it's about being able to put aside some time that's actually just family or spare time or whatever. So if you're at the gym, you're just doing a workout, you're not trying to read at the same time. Yeah. And if I'm with my family, I'm spending time with them. I'm not sort of on the phone, catching up on emails or taking phone calls. My message to the Chinese community is that you are valued members of our nation. The Chinese, who I am proud to call friends, associates and constituents in my area, are hardworking, law-abiding Kiwis who play by the rules. I thank you for your contribution. I want to support you in the things that you do to help make our society in this country great. So please be in touch. Please know that I am here for you, the National Party is here for you, and we want to support the things that you do to help yourself, your family, your community, and New Zealand as a whole. Thank you.